Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Shadowdark tabletop role-playing game. And today we are going to be discussing the 6 things. So there were enough of these that I didn't really want to do a top 10 list, but I wanted to do more than 5. So this is going to be the top 6 things that I am changing about Shadowdark. So this is a continuation of our series on Shadowdark. First video I did, if you've already seen it, is the top 6 things that I like about Shadowdark. This is going to be the top things that I'm changing about Shadowdark. So stay tuned. All right, we're back, but first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment, and don't forget to hit that notification bell and share this video. All right, number 1 thing that I would change about Shadowdark is I don't actually like the 10 levels of advancement. I like the levels 1 through 20 mechanic instead of this one. So I've got a Shadowdark game we've been playing, and we've now been playing for about 6 months. Everybody is 4th level. I think 10 levels of advancement is probably good enough to do about a year. For a year campaign, that's about it. Shadowdark as written, the rules themselves are very deadly. And in my opinion, they're more for a introduction to role-playing games, introduction to tabletop role-playing, and they're there kind of for short-term pickup games and short-term campaigns, not necessarily a campaign that's going to last 4 years. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it that way. I just don't feel that, for me, it is there as a very long-term system. So I have decided to add to this advancement table to make it go all the way to level 20. And essentially, it's just a continuation of the talent rolls at every other level. It's every odd level, and then it's a continuation of the formula that's being used here with the experience. So, for instance, if you need to level up at 10th level, then you need 100 experience points. And then you go to 0, and to level up at 11th, then you need to get 110, so on and so forth. It's pretty easy, and so we're going to keep playing along with it, and we'll see how well that works. Okay, number 2 thing that I would change about Shadowdark is I don't necessarily like the spell tiers up to tier 5. And that goes along with expanding the game from level 1 to 20. So in each one of the spellcasting classes, and there's only 2 in the basic book, which is the priest and the wizard, there are 5 tiers of spells. If you get some of the expansions, then like the witch has also 5 tiers of spells. I want that to be expanded out a bit, so we are going to be expanding this out to tier 9 or levels 1 through 9 spells for both the priest and the wizard. I've actually written a bunch of new spells into the wizard lists, and I've rearranged these spells, and I've added spells all the way up to tier 9. So, for instance, one of the things I don't necessarily agree with is in the tier 5 spells, you've got a spell like Wish, and I know that wishes are a little bit different in Shadowdark, but you also have Power Word Kill, and then you have like Scrying, and like Prismatic Orb. The Prismatic Orb that's here, those spells don't necessarily match that particular spell level. If you look at like the tier 3s and the tier 4s, like the tier 3 spells, A lot of these spells are truly third-level spells. Like if you go back to Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, Fireball and Lightning Bolt are third-level spells. There's not really any true, like, higher-tier spells in here, except for, like, Fabricate. But if you go to the Tier 4 spells, then all of a sudden you start to hit these spells that are higher level. Cloud Kill is a 5th-level spell in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Telekinesis and Wall of Force are both higher level spells, so they kind of match and they kind of don't. And then all of a sudden at Tier 5, you have this massive jump. And I understand the reasoning behind that. It was to get this massive jump in power as you're able to get those spells, because 10th level is the highest level. But to go along with the levels 1 through 20, I would prefer to have levels 1 through 9 for spells. All right, so number 3 is going to be luck tokens. So I have a big problem with luck tokens. The way that luck tokens work right now is everybody gets one, and you can cash in a luck token to reroll any roll you just made. You must use the new result. So what I have found is the players that are playing spellcasting characters in my game are holding their luck tokens until they roll a 1 on a spell check, and then they're cashing them in to change the result. So everybody else also is saving their luck tokens for that very thing. And then there's a priest in the party who can cast Bless, which is essentially a vending machine for luck tokens. So I have changed the luck token mechanic to be advantage, meaning you have to spend the luck token before you make the roll, not after you make the roll. And thus, if there is like a spell that you really want to make sure that it goes off and you don't fumble it, you don't get a critical failure, then you roll with advantage and you spend your luck token. And there are plenty of luck tokens that go around. I give luck tokens out, and then everybody gets one, and then they also can get them from some of the other characters that can give out luck tokens. Like there's not a Scald in our party, but you can have a Scald that gives those out, and then the Bless spell from the Cleric. All right, that is number 3. Number 4 thing that I am changing about Shadowdark are the damage rules. And this is, I don't see it as an optional rule, but it is here. So when you hit a target with an attack or spell, you damage it. You roll your weapon or spell's damage dice plus relevant bonuses. And I am changing the relevant bonuses to be a primary stat. So a fighter who hits something with a sword would roll the damage dice plus their strength bonus for damage. So I've got some spells that I have now included that I have added that could be tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, but they will add like for the wizard, they would add the intelligence bonus. Not all the spells are going to do that, but some of them will. But for weapon attacks, it is going to be damage dice plus relevant bonuses, and relevant bonuses mean attributes. Okay, number 5 on our list is going to be monster attributes, and particularly hit points. I don't like the number of hit points the monsters have, and because I have allowed the players to use their stat bonuses for damage, I have changed the hit points of the monsters, and I have essentially doubled the number of hit points that the monsters have written out. And any monsters that I may make up are going to have extra hit points based off of basically their level and the kind of challenge I think they're giving out to the players, and those types of scenarios. So that's a big one, and a lot of these changes I have kind of ducktail or dovetail into the next thing that I want to change, and that's kind of how it goes. All right, and then the last one, number 6, and this one has to do with the death rules. It's on the same page as the damage ones, but it has to do with the death rules. So a character who goes to 0 falls unconscious and is dying. A character who goes above 0 wakes up and is no longer dying. So if you go dying character rolls a d4 plus their con modifier. On their turn, they die in that many rounds unless healed or destabilized. So if a creature knocks you down, you go to dying. On your turn, you then roll a d4 and add your con modifier, and that's how many rounds you have until you're dead. So on each of these turns, that player rolls a d20. On a natural 20, the character rises to 1. Somebody can stabilize them with a DC 15 intelligence check. I have changed this because this is not in here, and I asked the question, what happens if something attacks a dying character? And I have interpreted that as instant death. And we've had this happen already. I've already had a character who has died because something attacked them while they're dying. And that is just the way of the game itself. So if you are attacked and you take any damage whatsoever at all while you are dying, you are instantly dead, no coming back. So those are the top 6 things that I am changing about Shadowdark. Technically in that order, there are a few other changes that I am making. I am expanding the spell list for both the wizard, the priest, and the witch. I have changed some of the witches' critical failures and the critical failure table itself to make it more equivalent to what the wizard has, because there's a big dichotomy between those. And I will be expanding probably some of the advancement that characters can, options that they can get. I'm messing around with a few other mechanics, but these are the top 6 things that I have changed. All right, that is what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody